I've been ready from the jump. Tell me anything, but never tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm on. You can bet I've been above. You can never see me like I'm John. Seen it with a song. Yeah, we kicking in the whip, boy, then vroom, vroom. Invisible of Bitcoin, but all around, we taking over the world. I'm making home with the girl, head to tail like a flip coin. You can take it how you want. I've been up having fun. Yeah, baby, this ain't a disjoint. I ain't famous, I'm a boss. I've been up stacking sauce. The issue they can hit, boy.
And I'm here with John and Ash. How you doing, boys?
Hey,
Did you miss me?
welcome back, Fierce Leader.
It's a bit of a rhetorical question.
I feel like
I was a bit rattled at the start of last week. I was just like, "Are we on?" Like, I was expecting some sort of note to be like, "Okay, you're actually live," but it's just like, "Yep, sweet. No, all right, let's go." So how was it? How's it feel? Actually, so I'm actually big on numbers and obviously keeping track of numbers of various movies and seeing and waiting for stuff to come out. But one number that's actually dropped has been our female subscriber base since we announced that you got married.
Yeah, huge. Well, look, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. You're going to lock him down at some point, and to all the ladies out there, keep watching the show for the comics.
For what it's worth, I'm single.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Ash.
Still on the hunt. And how was the Gold Coast, mate? How was partying it up there?
Yeah, it was good. Look, we flew in and we were all fancy, stayed on Cavill Avenue, which was cool. Particularly
I call it Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I was going to say I feel a little closer to maybe I wasn't missing so much from the podcast. I'm sitting on Cavill Avenue. No, so we stayed at the Hilton. We decided to go real fancy. Right there. So that was a good spot, and plenty to do. I went scuba diving, so that was cool. Hadn't done that before. I think I'm going to try and get my get the full open water certificate now. So yeah, that's sick. But yeah, look, it was a fun time. I left the pod in the very capable hands of you boys, and you managed to get it done. And I've checked out the first little bit. I've just gotten back yesterday, so I haven't had a full chance to break it down. But I'm keen to see what was discussed, and hopefully there's not too much overlap today. But I always want to get my opinion in anyway. So even if there is.
It was fairly stacked last week, but we probably did go into a lot of detail on certain things. So there's always something interesting to talk about.
Absolutely, and look, there's plenty to discuss anyway. Like a lot sort of has seemed to happen. On top of that, there needs to be some discussion of, obviously we've had Falcon and Winter Soldier finish as well. So I want to wait until Tony's in so we can have a discussion on that. Say what up to Zack. Thanks for swinging by as you do every week. We appreciate you joining. It's always good seeing you on the Twitter timeline and on the comments section of the YouTube. It's it's a good time. So yeah, I guess off the bat, do you guys want to just give me a little breakdown, a quick rundown of what was discussed last week and how you went?
Yeah, well, I think we started off with doing a bit of a review of the Army of the Dead trailer. Obviously, that one dropped probably a couple of days before we were on. So just talking about sort of how it looked like and, the concept of, organized, intelligent zombies. One of the things that sort of got me was...
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Yeah, there was a quick cut scene of Batista in a knife fight with one of the zombies, and the guy was obviously really quick, but we had our sort of thoughts out there. But what was your thoughts on the trailer?
I mean, the thing with the trailer was I watched it a couple of times and just fantastic. And I was excited for the film beforehand, and I did send it to a mate of mine saying I was keen for this already, but now I'm really keen for this. That scene with him trying to stab the zombie and the zombie, I was like, I out loud was just like, oh shit. Because it's like that, they got that speed. It's gonna be really hectic to see, and then the fact that they're organized and intelligent, and it's like I don't know, like I think it's just going to be a really unique sort of take on the zombie genre, and I'm excited to see what comes from it. Like I'm excited for the the non-zombie prequels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Well, there's an animated and a live action prequel already set to go.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know that the animated series is a prequel. Is it?
Oh, okay.
Lost Vegas. Although I suppose it makes sense if the animated thing is the Outbreak, because it is called Lost Vegas, so maybe it's like how they lost Vegas. So yeah, but I'm excited, and then I'm pretty sure the live action prequel is the German guy while he's on the plane, the safecracker, while he's on the plane over to America, just before the events. So
that'll be so good. Yeah, I'm a sucker for, like, obviously Walking Dead fan, like, and I'm still 10 or 11 seasons. It's like I just want to know how the zombies were created, and they'll give it to us.
Do you think you'll get it?
I honestly, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, 10 seasons in, we just got, I don't know if any of you guys are into it all. We just got Negan's origin story finally, which was probably a bit underwhelming in the end, but still worth a watch. Some good de-aged Jeffrey Dean Morgan there. Which was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. And then what else? We sort of spoke about that Shang-Chi trailer, but none of us could really give it much because we don't know much about it. What about you?
Look, I'm not familiar with the character too much, or really at all. But I thought the trailer was fun. I was keen to see the trailer, and gave it a watch, and I'm excited. I'll definitely watch the film. And it was fun.
Yeah, we had the reaction to the little Flash tease because they started filming, with the logo.
Of course,
the score,
of course.
Were you all doom and gloom when you heard that, or are you still happy to give it a chance?
I'm really up and down with the Flash film. There are elements that I want to support. There are elements I don't want to support. I'm personally not a big fan of Keaton coming back. I know a lot of people are really like in the, Michael Keaton was my first Batman and he's the Batman I grew up with, so I'm so excited to see him again. For me, it's the same situation, but I don't have that nostalgia element for Michael Keaton for some reason. And because of that, I feel like I'm sort of sidestepping that and seeing it for what it is. And it's the nostalgia bait aspect of it that, it sort of feels a bit like at any point, Warner Brothers could change the title to The Flash and Batman just to try and draw in the numbers. Like, I think he'll be a massive part of the marketing. And he probably won't be in the film as much as we think. I think it'll be like a Joker in Suicide Squad trailer situation where, we'll almost see all of his scenes in the trailers. Might be a little longer than that. But, yeah, I just think, like, it's really like we need to draw numbers to watch our films. They're looking at the backlash. They're looking at how all of this is going down, and they're saying this is a silver bullet. So I don't know. And looking at that, like in terms of that little teaser, I wasn't sold on the fact that they went with the Justice League music when the Speed of Force was there for them to use. I liked the fact that it's like felt like retro. I thought that was cool though. But yeah, I don't know. let's just wait it out, I guess. Like they haven't even, or have they? They've started filming just, and it's still a long way away. I do like the fact that they've announced that the visual effects guy for the Flash on Zack Snyder's Justice League is doing it. For the Flash.
Yeah, and I was listening to the Real Emotion guys talking about the guy. I can't quote his name. Who's actually doing the score for the movie is also like he was like an underling to Hans Zimmer back in the day. So is there a is there a bit of a relationship with Junkie? Who knows? I get how people are saying, they should have had speed of the Force to that snippet, but I don't know if that would have worked with what they showed. I'm not too sure. I'm sure someone's done a fan edit somewhere.
I think I don't necessarily think he should have used Speed of Force. I just think it should have been more in that vein rather than directly.
Well, we did say it sounded like a more grander CW Flash theme, exactly. With no disrespect to the CW
and then
Flash.
The Yellow Lightning as well, like the Yellow Lightning. It's sort of just like it wasn't even yellow in the film that you consider canon. So what do you? Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see how we go. Like it's not even really that big a deal, I suppose. But we have a guest joining us, rocking the same headphones. Tony, how you doing?
What's up, boys? Sorry I'm late.
No, that's all right. We've held off the Falcon and Winter Soldier chat. So
I was trying to stay away. I was like strategic with trying to keep positivity tonight. And everything.
I guess let's look. We've just been chatting on what was discussed last week that I've missed, and sort of just throwing a few little points around from there. But yeah, let's just get stuck into the few things that we're wanting to talk about this week. And one, again, I don't know if this is something you guys spoke about already, but Wayne Tikar officially confirmed as John Stewart. How do you guys feel?
So sick. Cool dude. Lot to offer.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of feel a little bit robbed of his performance now, just kind of hearing what he's had to say. I kind of went through both Gaza and Dave's show with him. Along with Mr. Ray Porter alongside him, man, there was a lot of cool insight in it. I thought,
I've still got to watch those two streams. I thought it was funny because I think it might have been leading into Justice League coming out when they were interviewing Debbie, and she was like, "Oh, sometimes I've just got to be like, to Zack's like, dude, you can't just film shit in our backyard or driveway." But then he actually did. So I was like, so obviously it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, I think he did the same with Harry Lennox as well. I don't think that was part of I don't think that was part of what the additional photography was.
I'm going to assume that his driveway is probably a little bit different to the average driveway, though.
It's the world's most famous driveway.
Yeah. So, and we sort of spoke about, some of the other tidbits from JusticeCon too. So that was obviously a big one with Wayne coming out and being announced. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, just from watching his interviews, obviously having not seen him in anything, given the fact that he hasn't done a whole lot outside of sort of theater and stuff like that we just don't have the capacity to see. I wasn't familiar with him. I don't think many of us, if any of us, were familiar with anything that he's done, but just the way he carried himself in the interviews, from what I saw, I could just see it immediately. And I was, I thought he was fantastic in the interviews, and I'd really, really like to see that scene that was filmed.
It's interesting. You don't see, it's almost, you kind of see through, not so much who he is. It's kind of like you see the character, the embodiment of the character through just the way he holds himself, his posture, the way he sits up and everything, which is kind of interesting. And it's one of the main points across both streams was when you do tend to cast or get fan casted as a big actor, say someone like Denzel or something, it's so hard to see them outside of the role that they're playing. It's like people don't want to see those actors even stretch creatively. They just want to see them be themselves. So when you do this route of casting outside of the Hollywood realm, there's space like Hugh Jackman for them to embody who the essence of who the character actually is. So the military background, and like the guy's built like a brick shit house as well. Got the military posture and everything. So I don't know, it was cool. Some cool points within it.
And it really gets me wondering why they would I saw that the Green Lantern show might have been delayed filming, but they didn't want that. Didn't want that scene in because they've got Green Lantern sort of in the works, but they literally had a dead Kilowog. So like, did WB just not see that? I mean, a lot of people did miss Kilowog first time round. I did, but it's not like there wasn't a Green Lantern. Lanterns were also mentioned, so throw it out. Just put it out there. Show us it. And
it's exactly what he said. Sort of, I cast my guy, you cast your guy. People are going to be able to know that it's a different person.
Yeah.
So why does it matter?
Let the world decide, like he said.
Yeah. And when they had the news of the Green Lantern show, wasn't Hal and John Stewart the only ones that they didn't actually
not included?
Mention?
Yep.
So, yeah. So
yeah.
I don't know.
That's exactly right. I think it's definitely interesting to consider. And, as you said, the fact that the Green Lantern show was supposed to start filming 2 weeks ago and we haven't heard a thing, and now there's rumors that it had been delayed. Now, obviously, speaking here on the podcast, we don't have any insight. This is just what we're seeing online. But, yeah, saw a rumor today that it had been delayed until September 2021 before they start filming.
Oh, that late.
Okay. Which, initially for me, I was like, well, that's like a year and a half away. But then I realized that we're in 2021 and it's only a few months. But yeah, it's a big delay. And I don't know. I'm torn between just pessimism and optimism here, because part of me thinks, like, does the Green Lantern series... It's starting. The Flash is moving. The Flash is moving regardless. And it doesn't matter whether, it's canon to the Justice League or the Snyderverse. It can fit. And it should be able to work. Green Lantern series is a little more complicated, particularly if he's already cast a Green Lantern. So I guess my question is, are they looking at Wayne T. Carr? Are they looking at the response to John Stewart? Are they going, oh, look, he wasn't cast, but people are really happy about this guy. We sort of want to work with Zack in some way. We want to include his guy maybe because from what we've seen, we like it. But we can't just jump on it straight away.
Yeah, I reckon the good thing about Green Lantern is, like, they could just take the whole thing galactic and just wait for the whole thing to blow over, really. I mean, that's how I'm sort of thinking it. But you're right, like, but if they were doing that, why is there such a substantial delay? So who knows?
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, is the substantial delay because if they were to cast him as John Stewart, there's further implications for the rest of the Snyderverse, and they've given themselves 5 months to go, okay, within 5 months, everything needs to be sorted. We're starting filming here. We need to either remove John Stewart, cast someone new, cast this guy, and fit this series within the universe that these people clearly want to see. I mean, that's a lot of optimism, obviously, but there's more to that point that I want to discuss as we get to it.
I feel like they're really just oblivious to any of the fan reaction around this kind of stuff. It's like ignore. It's not like after just doing $500,000 going viral again just yesterday. There's no way that they're actually going to cherry pick the one thing that has got a little bit of a reaction, being like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's put him into our movie or into our show, whatever it be. But stay optimistic. I really hope.
But I guess the thing would be that it's not like they're cherry picking that. I feel like if that was the thing, is it a great part of a greater discussion? That's more my point, rather than hey, they like this one guy and let's just put him in. It's
I get you.
maybe the discussion is being had, and part of that is like, well, fuck, if we just go ahead with this HBO Max Green Lantern series and cast someone new, but we're in discussions to continue it. Now we're thinking we might tie all this together. If we just cast someone new now, then it's not going to pan out. So I don't know.
It's funny because they cancelled New Gods because of Darkseid. So you think they should cancel it because of Kilowog? Unless Dave Bautista is signing on as Kilowog.
That's right.
Just waiting for the contract to come through.
Are you getting a piece of that, John? Have you got a finder's fee or?
Yeah, we'll see how that
some
pans
royalties.
out.
Casting royalties. Yeah.
Finder's fee is 10%. I'm just putting it out there. Standard finder's fee is.
One thing I wanted to mention was within those interviews, Wayne mentioned that the whole suit was going to be full CGI. Mm-hmm. He goes, "There's just no other way to do it. Like, it's not going to be half practice. Obviously, there's no studio that's going to be helping with a costume design that late into production for reshoots in particular. So moving forward, do you think that it's something that kind of like what we saw in the history lesson that could be half, or do you think they're just, Zod was full CGI, his whole metal suit. It's not like if Zack was to do it, he couldn't do it tastefully.
Yeah,
what would your preferences be?
I think that it would be a half. If they had the time, I know that it was the pajamas, the CGI costume, because time and effort. I think if they were to go ahead and properly do it, it would be a, probably the green top, black suit like they got there with special effects added. Personally, that's what I reckon it would be.
Well, it's been such a long time since I've actually seen the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, and from what I recall, like the suit wasn't. I don't know. I didn't have any problems with the CGI suit.
No.
I'm sure if you've got the right visual effects people working on it, much of a muchness, particularly these days.
We should do a rewatch of the Green Lantern together and.
Actually, that's not about it. I've never seen the extended edition of it, or like whatever.
Yeah, okay.
So lock that one in. But what about you? Your thoughts, Ash?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm kind of trying to think about it from Wayne's perspective, because I, like Tony, did watch the stream. And it's funny how the first thing he actually tweeted when he got Twitter was that he restored the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
So as soon as he did that, it's almost like already right there you get the vibe that he's got that, loyalty to Zack. So even if conversations are being had, I just honestly can't imagine from his end him just going off and doing a random, Elseworld multiverse Green Lantern. That's not a Snyderverse Green Lantern. So just kind of going off what you guys were mentioning, if anything would probably just make more sense, assuming that they may not even be having John Stewart and Hal, the whole idea that they're focusing on all the other lanterns as an outright multiverse story. But it's, who knows the reasoning behind the delays, to be honest. Could be because conversations are happening, but the reality is we really don't know much at all about the show. There's been really barely anything. We really don't know much at all about the show.
Just that Jeff Johns was attached and Jeff Johns is seemingly unattached.
Yeah. And take Superman and Lois into account as well. There's been delays, COVID, and
huge delays.
Probably writing delays. Something else under the wraps. Who knows?
So I was listening to the Entourage podcast with the guys from Entourage, obviously, and Emmanuel Shikri was saying that they'd gone, because she's obviously the one playing Lana, and she was saying that they had 2 months to film. She said they started in October. She's going, it's December now, and we are finishing the second episode. So in terms of production delays, like that show got through 5 episodes before they went back into a COVID thing, but it was already, they did 29. It took them, 29 days per episode for the first 2 episodes.
They're starting to realize that you can't just you can't just cheat like shooting with all these telephoto lenses and lighting it cinematically and actually trying to make it look. It does look better than where the other old CW stuff did.
100%. Yeah, it looks awesome.
It's a slow grind, man. It's
I was actually
easy.
pretty happy that it got delayed because there was just too much content backing up right now. So I was like, oh, thank God, I'll catch
same.
up on it.
I was like 2 episodes behind, and then I caught up, and then it was like, all right,
especially with me like rewatching Falcon so many times because it was just
You've got to watch. Not when a new episode comes out, you've got to rewatch all the other episodes
to refresh.
and also, just so it's stuck in there.
So I guess going off this conversation, like what I wanted to discuss further was the AT&T Investors Day meeting and what sort of came out of that. And there was some interesting figures being thrown around on the DC Film Squadcast that came out today that I wanted to bring up as well. So obviously, there was a bit of information last week about the fact that there wasn't a lot of discussion about Zack Snyder's Justice League. There was very heavily focused on the fact that it was Wonder Woman and Godzilla and everything but Zack Snyder's Justice League seemingly bringing the customers to HBO Max. What do you guys think, having looked at them at face value? Do you think we just didn't have as many as we sort of felt like it would be, or do you think there's more to it?
What do you think, Ash?
Look, go for that.
Yeah, either.
My insight's not too valuable here. So
Look,
go for it.
I've been looking closely at the numbers. I think the reality is, to be honest, they're looking at it with a too small mind, because the reality is, it's not just the domestic hit; it's the global numbers that they also should be concerned with. Because we look at, I'm trying to remember the streaming, but Canada, HBO Go, even us that one, and then obviously Binge. The numbers are through the absolute roof. Now, as far as the numbers go, I think just regarding Godzilla vs. Kong, that came out on the very last day of March. So I don't believe a lot of, these people trying to go, oh yeah, it was all, Godzilla. The Snyder Cut really did nothing. I think that's a pretty stupid argument, considering it was barely the last day where that came out.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree.
And also, it's important just to kind of point out, and keen for you guys to kind of add further to this, but there was a massive spike in May 20th of 2020 because a certain movie got announced then. I believe the spike, I think the sub amount was close to, I think it was about 700, 800,000, give or take, in May 2020.
I'm not sure of the actual figures, but I know that for Q2, they had something like 3.3 million new subscribers for quarter 2 last year, with most of them coming in May. And then there was another big jump in December, and then another big jump now. So
we're talking strictly subs here, right? Just subs.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, like the loyal guys have jumped on early, but really, like, what is the most beneficial kind of analytic that you're trying to look for? Is it the month of March brought in this? Why don't we just get like the viewing numbers? Because if it's Godzilla vs. Kong the last day, obviously the debut is not going to be more than the accumulated views of that. So why aren't we just going, what's the most viewed? And
because it's profit. It's profit. You pay the same amount to watch 100 times that you pay to watch once. So that's why they're looking at views. I think they need to take a lot of that into account. But I also think, they'd be stupid not to know that people signed up for Zack Snyder's Justice League in May and have, looking at the amount of money that they've made in support of them because of Zack Snyder's Justice League over 10 months, and if we put it at $15 over 10 months, you made $150 off, let's say, 1.5 million subscribers. If it was 3.5, that's actually subbed. Let's just say 1.5 of them are for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and over that 12 months, you've made $150 per person for that. It's a huge amount of money.
You got to look at it too, and there's been so many variables towards, what I think they were selling. What the first year of HBO Max is arguably a success, was sort of almost second to Netflix at the moment. But there's been so many things. So you've had Justice League, you've had day and date releases of tentpole tentpole movies spread right throughout the year. So they really need to look at the data overall. So for example, of the portion of people who watched Justice League, they watched it this many times, but they have been subscribers since day one. Like there's so many layers to it.
Huge amount of factors. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would you say that Wonder Woman 84 coming out on Christmas Day, are you more likely to flick on, your subscription then when you've got a bit of time?
I think a lot of DC fans would have done it then. The Zack Snyder's Justice League fans would have done it then to show support as well.
So for people thinking that the 2.7 mil recorded for the last quarter was the only time that anyone would have signed up as a result of Justice League, it's too short-sighted because the announcement was, nearly 12 months ago now. So I think I don't even know if there was like a graphic floating around. I don't know if it was legit, but it kind of looked like a slide from a PowerPoint presentation, and it had 4 movies of key content that resonated with the subscriber base, and Justice League was there. So I think an Investors Day would really be a little bit more
stanky.
I think an Investors Day would be a little bit more high level than just, are we going to do more Justice League movies? It would have had to be a lot more detailed. So
absolutely.
It's
sorry, Ash,
important to point out as well. Sorry, so just 2 things real quick. I found the graph I was going off. It was actually 400 mil. So I'm looking at a graph right now where pretty much April 20, it was at 0.8 mil, and then pretty much in May went up to 1.2 mil. So there was a solid spike in pretty much 400k subs. And it's important to remember the AT&T numbers, they're pretty generic because it's designed for shareholders. It's not like a specific IP in a DC, movie in the Snyder Cut as well. So release those bloody numbers, WB. That's all I'll say.
So what I wanted to point out here was some interesting figures that, again, they spoke about on the DC Film Squadcast today. Tim brought this up and mentioned that now HBO Max is sitting at the 44 million subscribers, and what he said was that basically we're seeing what each company now makes per subscription. So at $15 a subscription, HBO Max makes $11.50 out of that, roughly. Disney, on the other hand, has 100 million subscribers. They've just ticked over 100 million subscribers, but they only make about $4.99 per subscriber because of the low cost. So yes, they have more, but they're not making as much of it. So the thing with that means that it's for them to break even, every one subscriber for HBO Max is an equivalent to 2.92 subscribers for Disney Plus. So I guess looking at that means that, at 44 million subscribers, Disney Plus would need to be at 120 plus in order to beat them, in order to be making the same amount of physical profit. And if you're looking at that and considering how much Disney is making off Disney Plus at the moment and how much content they're putting out and the money that they're putting into that content, considering the fact that we see the numbers, HBO Max is doing better than that. They have they've got money. They know they're making money. They've got to be making this content, and I think we need to be pushing.
Like even Disney, it's a relatively young streaming service, and that's, in my mind, just a good business move because we've got Disney Plus, we may or may not access someone else's account, but the amount of content on there, particularly if you've got kids, Like it's people are going to carry what, maybe 3, maybe 4 streaming services. You got kids. Disney Plus is pretty much a lock almost with Netflix. So the telling tale will be when all of these streaming services actually go proper global. Like our Foxtel, Stan, whatever, they're going to get impacted eventually because they're going to be out of content. But I think Disney is still in that. Let's just keep it quite low, build our loyal people, and they might raise prices by $1 a year and not tell anyone. I wouldn't check, and suddenly profit starts to go up. Whereas HBO Max will then need to get to the point where it's and it, like from what I know, you got like Raised by Wolves, you got all the HBO stuff. Like they do have really good content. So people saying that they're going to cancel their subscriptions because there's no more Justice League. It's like, well, there's still some good stuff on there.
Absolutely.
But we
but they need to keep that up.
I guess Sorry, Tony, go on.
I mean, why buy out J.J. Abrams for what you did and don't announce anything? And like, look, how many Star Wars shows are coming out? It's ridiculous. Like off of
I will watch every one.
Off of one successful show, it's probably like now Pedro's off doing The Last of Us. Like it's probably going to be a little hiatus with Mandalorian, which opens the doors for all these other ones. But like you've got one successful project like Godzilla vs Kong, which kind of felt like by the end of it, it was just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like felt like just one little story of what could be told ongoing. And then like Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was so good, but shows so much more going forward. And there's been nothing. It's just like his Peacemaker, his Batman coming out next, the Flash, Black Adam, but like really, like what?
Gotham PD won't happen. No chance.
I don't see that. I don't see myself sitting down every week and actually materializing. Is what I'm saying. It's why are we not getting news of all the other exciting projects? If you already had successful stuff, like is Peacemaker the answer to all of our dreams?
Yes.
I think it's gonna be good. I just hope that there's one episode of him eating just dicks off just a whole episode. Yeah, just the whole episode. It's just there we go.
Eat a dick, God. Jungle. Yeah. Oh man,
it'd be called Sausage Party.
I don't know. Like I think I don't want to get too down on Peacemaker, but why? Is more
it's like question. What we said before. It's like, give me these side characters, but can you just nail your main ones?
Exactly. There's no issues with these characters getting their own shows, but like, why do we need another Gotham PD show? Extend the Bat family. Yeah. Like, if you want to build in that universe, make it interesting. Like, give us a Nightwing series or something. Like, I don't know, something like that. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, even more animated stuff.
Playing sign off.
Yeah, is the Long Halloween coming out on HBO Max, or is that just like a separate DC release? It's just like, because that's another missed opportunity. Why are you not like putting out like an Invincibles original kind of show on HBO Max? It's just DC. If you're not going to use it,
yeah. Exactly. I just want to point out Zach's comment here. I'm not complaining, but who asked for a Peacemaker series? That is pretty much exactly how I feel. Like, I'll watch it because it's more DC content, but why?
I'm hoping that it'll be good because I personally wasn't asking for Doom Patrol, but when that came out, it was really good. Now,
and that's right.
I haven't watched season 2 yet, but season 1 was really good. So I wouldn't have thought.
Umbrella Academy Titans. Yeah.
Is Umbrella Academy thereabouts? Like, wait, have you seen that? And like, where would you?
Oh yeah, that's great. Yes. And I'm really hoping that Zack directs an episode of season 3.
Yes.
We'll see if that happens, hey?
And that's right. Umbrella Academy. I've not seen Doom Patrol yet. I don't know why I've slept on it.
It's really good. The first season's good.
But I guess Umbrella Academy is fantastic. And that's going into season 3. We'll definitely discuss.
I was getting a bit tired with the back end of season 2 of the Umbrella Academy because I thought they could have moved it a little bit quicker. But like season 1 was really, really good. But we'll stick with it. So
that dude is so Ezra, isn't he? Like that, he's got that real Ezra kind of look and humor.
Oh, Klaus.
Yeah, Klaus.
That's the dude from Misfits. You ever see Misfits?
No.
The British superhero show?
No.
He was brilliant. He was that's an old one, and he was my favorite character in that. Like this is years ago, and the whole thing is that everyone but him got powers, and they couldn't work out what his powers were for the longest time, and it was always funny as. But he was just filthy. It was him and the other guy, and it was Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones. And he says at one point to him, he says, "Oh, you're disgusting. I bet you'd fuck your own sister for a slice of cheese." And Ramsay Bolton's like, "I don't even like cheese." And he goes, "Oh, that makes it worse, you sick bastard," or something like that.
I really like the guy that plays, is it number 4, the kid?
Oh, number 5, yeah. Oh,
number 5, yeah. He's such a good actor too. Like I was like fan campaigning him to play like Robin or something at one stage.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people putting him up for like Damian Wayne or Tim Drake, and I was like,
my God.
I could see that.
My most hated character in DC is Damian. I just cannot stand the little TNT. Oh my God. He just annoys the shit out of me in every single panel, every single movie. Oh.
You're just like, this because he got with Raven. I bet it's because he got with Raven, isn't it, Tony?
Yeah, no. I'm more envious of Nightwing with Starfire in that regard.
I think every iteration I read, Damian's just like a straight up cock. I was reading up on Injustice, and he spoiler it there. But when did Injustice come out? Years ago. We can spoil how he basically kills
2013
Dick Grayson or something. I was like,
yeah,
well, that was unexpected.
And then takes on the mantle of Nightwing.
Geez, I don't think so. He just goes off and.
I swear, isn't he Nightwing in? And he's got like the red instead of the blue.
In Injustice, he kills him, but he's on Super's side. I don't know if he takes up the mantle.
No, I don't think he does.
Or just wears the suit. But I swear it was him in the alternate timeline where it's the red costume or the black, but with the Nightwing logo is red instead of blue. And I swear it's Damian Wayne.
I think I do remember. I think that might have been in year 3 or 4 though, later on, and then Nightwing becomes Deadman, and he comes back in a way, and then they have this reconciliation, but it's too late and whatnot. You try and redeem Damian, but there's no redeeming it.
Yeah. I think Dick Grayson comes back in 3 because that's when they introduce Constantine and stuff. Justice League Dark. So I'm only on 4 now because I'm so.
I need to read them all. I haven't. I've only played the games.
Year 3 is the best year of that whole series. It's just.
I've read it and I've just started 4. Lads, I actually do need to shoot, but just the one thing I wanted to say regarding Falcon Winter Soldier. Didn't mind it. It was a pretty good series. Did everyone watch the last episode?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, can we just all agree, like, the Captain America shield's a pretty strong piece of equipment, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it would break a chair? Particularly if the chair was kicked at the shield? That's the only thing that just did me when he was fighting. That rock or something. Yeah, he throws the shield. And then old mate kicks a chair out at the shield, and it just like falls to the ground. I'm like, come on, that's just lazy. Like, and I didn't mind the show, but give me a little bit. It's like, come on.
I mean, earlier in the episode, he throws it and it like pierces a tree, but it can't break a chair.
A chair. Yeah, that's just physics. But
well, I guess thanks for tuning in, John, and coming through and having a chat, and you've just segued us perfectly into our Falcon and Winter Soldier chat. So
I'll let Tony take it from here. All right, thanks guys.
Take care, man.
Yeah,
so I guess we've all discussed. Well, we've all seen the entire thing now. Had a bit of a discussion. I'm not going to go too heavy into it straight away, but I know we've discussed on the podcast that we didn't all love it, particularly after the first couple of episodes. Did you find yourself enjoying it more by the end? Yeah, Ash, we'll start with you.
Yeah, because trying to get into the negative stuff later. Yeah, look, honestly, it did take longer than I hoped for myself to warm up to it. I really found the last kind of 3 episodes really just had me wanting more, especially the finale of what happened with John Walker. Like, I really, honestly, I got to say, I got serious Heath Ledger, like, all it takes is one bad day vibes. Like, I really just kind of remember just watching that going, man, like seeing the blood on the shield was just, holy crap. Okay, shit is getting serious. And, you know, obviously, I think it's one of those things where, obviously, coming out of the Snyder Cut, the show just from the start was going to be hard, I think, for me and most of us, probably DC hardcore fans, to really warm up to it. But I would definitely comfortably say it was definitely it did not disappoint, unlike WandaVision, in my opinion, of course.
Okay.
I think there were, like, I'm sure we can get into the spoilers of it soon, I'm sure. But yeah, I think the finale delivered where it needed to. I'm very excited for what's coming up. Obviously, Captain America 4 has been announced, so it's in the works. So I'm very keen to see where they take. Well, I guess now he's no longer Falcon. He's called Captain America. It ends with Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So yeah, very keen to see that. And also Bucky as well. Obviously, personally, I was always hoping we would potentially see Bucky wield the shield like in the comics. But at the same time, I think, you know, I've always been a big fan of Sam since Winter Soldier, the second Cap movie. I've really liked what they've been doing with him. So yeah, very, very excited for what the future holds for those characters going forward.
So I guess we'll go with the old Harvey Dent Two-Face flip of the coin here and go to the other side of the coin. I imagine, Tony, did you find yourself liking the show more as it went on?
Man, look, I try and give the show every reason. Like, I am a fan at the end of the day of Marvel. I've read a lot of stuff without getting into too much backstory. It's not so much the execution of the way things were done is what I've got a problem with. And it's not only that, it's the actual, like, the cinematography, the jokes, the dynamics, the power, the kind of power, the way it shifts within the show, like from canon. And, you know, like Bucky just is so depowered that, you know, just any super soldier can. They just took on Thanos, like, you know, how long ago? And then they're battling it out with a bunch of people that have just gotten juiced up that, you know, have no kind of awareness of the, like, how to harness their strengths. And there's just so many things. I was just really disappointed with it, man. It was just, even like Zemo was like the most interesting part of the show, but then again, every single villain that they've got kind of is just another Loki, where it's just quips and smartass and just, you know, breaks the ice and takes the weight off of every situation with a wisecrack, and then he goes away, and then it's just back to Bucky and Falcon, and you got like a 20-minute montage of them having beers fixing a boat, and it's like, why do I care about the boat? Why do I care about your poverty? Why do I don't? And then, like, in terms of like the character that, look, not to get into any of the stuff that the show was trying to push narratively, but from my awareness, that guy that was put into exile, that was the super serum former Captain America that finally got his plaque at the end. I thought it was just because he had the super serum and they locked him away. I didn't know it was anything about race. That was new to me. So for it to be like a race changing narrative rather than like, there was just so many different divergence that this show was trying to push. And I was just like, okay, what do I care about? Because I'm trying to figure out, do I care about your poverty? Do I care about what Zemo's plans were? And then you got, like, you know, US agent who's angry, trying to make his own shield, and they're trying to kill each other. And then the next episode, they're just like all cool and fighting together, trying to save the world. It's just, I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could. I gave it a good go, but for it to get announced and Anthony Mackie to, like, get his own Captain America off of the back of something that was just so subpar, like, come on, it just feels like a money-making machine. It just feels like a turntable. I really don't feel like they're putting the amount of effort that they did with Endgame or whatever that came before. They just the effort's not there narratively. It's just such vomit.
I feel like I'm torn because I think post Endgame everything was going to take a dip. It doesn't matter what they did post Endgame. They had two ways to go. They either top a story they've been building on for over 10 years, or it dips. So I was always expecting that. I don't necessarily care that it has taken a dip. I'm not expecting much from Black Widow either, personally. But
Taskmaster looks like shit.
Yeah, I just, it's the same sort of thing. Now, in terms of how I sort of viewed the show, I agree with you. I didn't realize that. I thought they locked him up because he was a super soldier and they were just testing him and all that sort of thing. I didn't get the racial element to it. However, I found the racial stuff, particularly in the last couple of episodes, with Sam, why he didn't want to take the shield, why he picked it up again. That whole thing, I found that to be the most interesting. I personally thought Zemo was boring. I thought he was boring in fucking Civil War. I thought he was useless. And I thought he was shit this time around. So Zemo, I mean, you have him with the bloody mask. And he put it on for like 30 seconds over the entire 6 episodes. So, okay, cool, whatever. Anyway, that's moved on. Power broker Sharon Carter straight away, like that. I'm not on board with that either. Her being sort of evil now. I agree. The boat situation was, it was supposed to be like a bit of a team building exercise type thing, but I feel like that was supposed to play more into the racial element, and I think just the boat itself played that for me, like the actual. Because where was it? Was it Baltimore or New Orleans or something like that? Where it's obviously like a big black community, and I think that was sort of that whole boat thing was to show the community, and that have Sam go, all right, well, I want to stand up for the community now. So I guess, yeah, for me, those were the most interesting elements. I liked. Yeah, I thought the flag smashes were. Yeah, I didn't really care for. Yeah, I didn't really care about what they were doing or anything like that. And I think
could have stopped so quick.
Yeah, and I also think that it was interesting that somebody pointed out that we didn't care because we didn't see what life was like during the blip. So, because they didn't show us. Well, yeah, how are we supposed to know what it was like? And they've just sort of, thrown that in. I found myself enjoying the last 2 episodes a bit more than I had enjoyed the show, and was a lot more open to it. They sold me because Julia Louis-Dreyfus came in. I wish she was in DC, but she fits in Marvel much more with the jokes. And she was just great in both the scenes that she was in, even when she was going. I thought it was brilliant when she was talking to John Walker's wife, saying, I couldn't have thought this better if I planned it myself. Maybe I did. Nah, I didn't. But maybe I did. You didn't like that?
Just because it felt like Agatha from Wonder.
Nah. You know who it felt like? Selena Meyer. That's why. Why I loved it. I loved it because Julia Louis-Dreyfus is just the best. And yeah, it just felt very Selena Meyer. Like if it wasn't a Marvel TV show, John Walker probably would have been called a cunt. And that's what I sort of got, that sort of vibe from her, and I thought that was great because she can do no wrong. That's Elaine Bennis. So
right.
Yeah. Have you seen Veep, Tony?
No, I just looked it up as you were speaking just to get the context. But,
I guess when Veep being her show where she's playing the prime minister, or not the prime minister, the vice president. Sorry, of the states. I would definitely say give that a go, but because it is that sort of government character, that's why I think I was getting that vibe from her. And I'm very familiar with all of her stuff, but I think she's got great comedic timing, and it's the same as Catherine Hahn. You've just put two very, very strong comedians in these sort of villainous roles. But yeah, I mean,
Catherine's in everything she's in. Like she's
been great for a long time.
Yeah, like in everything she's been, she's really versatile and everything. But then again, I was just like the character design and the way the villain was played. It was so on the nose. That quirkiness and that jerky kind of stuff. When it brings me, it takes me out of what I think would actually be being said in that situation. I wanted to touch on one other little thing, and it's mainly around Bucky. Like the flashback scene of Bucky getting kind of fixed in Wakanda, and everyone's like Oscar, Emmy, whatever. Look, I liked it. It was good, but it was only like a little scene, and then that whole scene that was built up, which we thought was going to be the scene that Sebastian Stan kind of finally came out, and it was like his moment of redemption almost, is when he told the story. He came clean to the guy who he killed his son at the beginning, and then it was just like it was over with. The editing, it was just like in, and the door comes, and it's like that's the easy way out. That's like, okay, your mind fills in the gaps, but if you're talking about giving an actor the chance to act, that's compromised for editing runtime. But we've got a 20-minute montage of however long on a boat of them sinking beers, giving each other pats on the backs. I just like, come on, I don't. This is the reason I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sorry, but like when you don't let actors act, it's in those little moments that words aren't even said, but like they act through their eyes or whatever, like how he did in Wakanda. That was good.
Like Steppenwolf.
Like Steppenwolf, when like you get the whole backstory of how he betrayed during the coup and everything, and all that backstory.
You see it in his eyes.
Give me that with Sebastian Stan. I think it was like, for him, I don't think he got his actual moment. It just, the fail-safe in the arm, the power down situation, being bossed by a group of kids that don't know what they're doing. Come on, it was for me a little bit lazy on the writing part.
I could see that. I also, one thing that I noticed was that, did you notice that every single one of the flag smashes was foreign? And it was very like, obviously it's Captain America, but I noticed that like she was British, and then the guy next to her was an Australian, and then the guy next to him was from
Asian.
Well, the Asian guy was Australian, and I just thought it was like really like
forced diversity again is really just overtaking the Like, I'm not saying don't include these people. Like, that's what we're here for. But when it's just like this cool group of kids,
I didn't see it necessarily as forced diversity. I looked at it like, well, America is the good guys and everyone else is the bad guys, and this is what we're doing. That's how I sort of when I clicked, I was just like, there's not one American in this group.
Right.
The foreign people are the bad guys, but Captain America will stop it. That's what I just I don't know, maybe I'm reading into that, but that's sort of what I picked up.
It definitely seemed like there were clearly like there was more than one side to the story they were trying to have as the narrative, except clearly it seems from the show that they were going off more towards America bad with their interference in international policies.
Yeah,
I definitely got that vibe. I'll just say as well, like one of the scenes that really I think stood out to me, because at first I saw it as a potential way just for me to throw me off with like, all right, they're going for the racial and inequality stuff where Sam is talking best to the world leaders, and it actually really got me because I thought at first I was like, oh, what are they doing here? Are they just emphasizing purely on the racial injustice stuff? But to their absolute credit, they ended up bringing it home, and I just found like watching it, like the way he was obviously able to share his struggles in his community, but also somehow bring the world leaders and make it a fundamental issue that all of humanity faces in dealing, post the blip life. And I just remember watching it going, man, that is just nailed it.
I like that scene. Yeah.
I really thought it was done well. I think it's a case of them doing it right. It would almost feel like, if you think the way I kind of try to think about it is, if they'd kind of just left it at the outright racial, injustice in that scene, I don't think it would have had as much of an impact as then building from that and bringing the point home as to where they go from there, if that makes sense. I think they really did that well. So to their credit.
Absolutely. And I guess we'll tie it up here, but I did want to ask Tony, do you have any thoughts on that particular scene? Was that a standout for you? Did you just think it was too much, played up?
I think it dragged a little bit, like in terms of runtime of allocation of each little scene. Going back towards it being shot in third person as like a news presentation, and him in there, then chopping between the camera angles, the way it was chopped up, the speech, the dialogue. I mean, what they were going for, yeah, cool. Like, I'm glad it was more than just like the racial agenda that he was addressing. Because he's Captain America, he's going to be across all of these things, and he's got to be that beacon of hope, kind of telling these people of power, hey, when you're making decisions in the room, when there's surrounded by people like yourselves, you have to think of other people, all those kinds of things. I just didn't like the actual dialogue. It's in the nuance. It's missing that little bit of finesse in terms of the dialogue. I don't feel like Anthony Mackie really does have the chops to be that kind of, like, again, this isn't a DC thing. It's purely in the way that they speak. When I compare someone like Ray Fisher talking on live stream compared to the way that Anthony Mackie delivers lines in an actual scene that are written for him, there is just so much more vocabulary-wise, posture-wise, the way he stands up, the way he talks. He just has so much more presence than what I think Anthony Mackie has as well. So, like, I'm sorry to be a drag. I want to have something positive to say about this, but it just missed the mark on so many levels for me. The only scene I did like was kind of when the former super soldier kind of got his due, and they hugged it out, and it was like, look, that little bit of retribution for all that time locked up. I kind of got like Denzel Washington kind of Hurricane vibes of him finally being like that weight off his shoulders, like, free man kind of all this time afterwards. It reminded me of that, and it was like, oh, feel really good about that moment. Everything else, just no suaveness, no finesse to it.
Well, I guess we'll look forward to hearing more of these fantastic thoughts from Tony when Captain America 4 drops, and we sit down to discuss that. Boys, thanks for jumping on tonight. It's been good to catch up again. We've got some exciting things coming in the next few weeks. We're going to have some special guests on, some people we're really excited to talk to. So, yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're interested. If you know anyone who's interested, send it around. Next week, we will talk Invincible.
We're talking that next week. We have to.
Absolutely. We're talking Invincible. We may even do an early episode. Maybe we'll do it on the weekend. See how we go. Awesome. But everyone, thanks for tuning in, and until next time.
I've been ready from the jump. Tell me anything, but never tell me that I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm on. You can bet I've been above. You can never see me like I'm John. Seen it with a song. Yeah, we kicking in the whip, boy, then vroom, vroom. Invisible like Bitcoin, but all around we taking over the world. I'm making her with the girl, head to tail like a flip coin. You can take it how you want. I've been up having fun, yeah, baby.